Welcome back to Midwest eSports Formula 1. Tonight we're in Division 1 in Saudi Arabia. And I switched to the scene, cutting Nick off mid-sentence so he couldn't get his thought out to me.
We love it. I saw a video on TikTok this morning of a set producer on like a Good Morning Australia broadcast, how he can say whatever he wants and they just have to respond with, "Thanks, Mitch," and they continue on with the broadcast. Yeah, that was perfect. Welcome back to Jeddah, everyone. It was in the tail end of last season, which feels like it was last weekend, honestly. But we are back, and this is one of the, if not the fastest street circuit on the calendar, and it always delivers. So happy to be back here with Division 1 action. Hopefully we will see our stars get a couple less penalties, couple less league penalty points today. But we are going to get into that once we are trackside for qualifying. There were quite a lot of penalties last week in Monaco in all of the divisions. Division 1 was no exception there.
Yeah, it is a chaotic track in general, just so tight. And when one accident happens, you tend to get a few more. And they had several DNFs in Division 1, several in all of the divisions. It's a race about survival, and some teams did pretty well with that. Some teams not so much. So there were some shakeups in the standings, which we'll dive into a little later.
Do you know if D1 had issues with the rejoin, if their lobby crashed as well, and if they had a restart?
That was 2 weeks ago.
That's
now,
2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense. Well, it was probably rainy. I don't know if it was rainy last week in D1?
It was rainy for qualifying in Monaco.
Okay. Hi. Welcome back. I was at the race. We saw it.
You were there, yeah.
We were in D2. Do they match the weather in all of the divisions?
I believe so.
Oh, they do. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was left up to chance or if that was predetermined, but that's cool. So yeah, Monaco was Monaco. It was D2 was very exciting. I will say it was more exciting of a race than I anticipated it to be. And I know just looking at the chat, looking at some of the replays and definitely the Stewart findings, I can, surmise that D1 was just as equally as interesting. We are now trackside, checking out 16 and a half minutes to go in Q1 and only on board here with Scabney in the Haas. But we do have 5. There were originally 4, and then later 5 penalties were added to the laundry list for Monaco in D1. I'm vamping, trying to pull up the stewards report, which I lost. Here we go. Yep, that has all 5. So because there were 5, it is really not worth anybody's time to take you away from that much racing action and go through all of the explanations. So here is the updated summary from Monaco, week 10 in season 11 of Formula 1 racing here, Division 1. Scarenzi walked away with 10 seconds of penalties and 3 league penalty points. Cynical, 5 seconds and 1 league point. Scavney, 1 league point. Caesar, 2 league points. And Ayahuasca, 5 seconds and 2 league points. So the main focus there was on Scarenzi, points leader by just 1 point, I believe, going into today's race, with 10 seconds worth of penalties and 3 league penalties to boot. Mitch, we were talking a little before the race. It was a bit comical, but you really can't show what you're made of after the race is completed in an attempt to try and reverse some of those penalties.
It was fun to see. He got spun around 180 on the track, and thinking that for the most part it was clear, he attempted a move where he'd give the car a good bit of juice and get those tires moving, spin 180 so you can right the ship and then get to somewhere where you can pull off of the track. So he showed that he's practiced that move, he's capable of doing it, but still ended up ending Houdini's race, who was coming up the track and isn't expecting a car to do a 180. So I think both, they know what happened. It's fine, move past it. And now we're in a slightly wider track.
Yes, yeah, this will allow for a bit more action, and it is a street circuit, so we do know Scarenzi is a favorite driver on street circuits, so we'll have to see how today plays out for the Aston Martin. Like we said, he's currently still sitting in first in the Drivers' Championship, but anything could change now with, I believe, Ferrari and a few other teams really nipping at those heels. So as the season winds down, 4 races to go following tonight's action, everything is on the table. These drivers are really fighting for every point, and I don't think you and I have seen a race get this close this late in the season before.
Yeah, there's a good chance to shake up these standings. Aston Martin has been in the lead since week 2. Ferrari led the first 2 weeks, and then week 3 on Aston Martin is led, but both drivers DNF'd last week, and both Ferrari drivers finished, I believe. At least they got first with race day's win, so they jumped Aston Martin by a decent bit. 3rd and 4th, 5th are all a little bit behind Aston Martin. That's a gap that they could chip away at if Aston Martin has a couple more bad races, but now it's going to be a struggle for them to come back and attack Ferrari in these last 5 races.
Well, it will be a struggle indeed, especially with 2 teams that are not Ferrari or Aston Martin up on top of the points. It is Williams and AlphaTauri atop qualifying right now in the first 4 grid spots. And now we have a Mercedes breaking that team wall there. But Gott Palmer has gone fastest with 1:2.68.
We'll get some more qualifying. So he's looking to repeat, get himself back on top, continue to hold on to that Drivers' Championship now that he is just 1 point ahead of race day, who has had quite a wonderful season so far this year. So won the last 2, which are his first 2 of the season, but still holding on.
He's on a heater, is what that means.
Yes, and he won several last season. He was always in contention. He won all throughout the season.
Yeah, 100% a threat out there on track. He just set fastest lap. That's a 1:2.67 for race days Ferrari. And thank goodness he showed up. If you are in paddock chat, we're all thankful that race day showed up. So Bobbert Yates did not have to make good on his promise.
We have the other Aston Martin team now, Cynical, completing his lap. He has been good for Aston Martin this year, too. They've put together quite a championship contention team. He's moved up into 7th here in qualifying. Scarenzi up in 3rd. You have the Ferraris in 1st and 4th. And those Williams are always sniffing around the top of the podium.
Always. Yeah, they are quick. It's a surprise that they are not the team fighting with Aston Martin right now in the points. But yeah, those 2 are absolutely on it as well. VTech saying he has a heater in his house as well. Yeah, so do we. Really feeling it is MidWest eSports, so I'm imagining most, if not all of our racers, I know that's not true, are in the northern part of the country right now with some family up in the Green Bay area. I know that Wisconsin is getting absolutely walloped with some weather, as is the East Coast right now. So wherever you are, I hope you're nice, warm, and cozy. I know I'm going to be sweaty by like lap 8, so there's no worry there. Mitch has like 8 layers on right now. I got some fuzzy slippers on. We're all snug as a bug in a rug over here.
I can't fight it off anymore. It has been from 0 to 20 in Pittsburgh the past few days, Fahrenheit, by the way, not Celsius. And I'm set up in the basement, surrounded by concrete walls next to the outside. So these past few days, it just hasn't been able to retain that heat. So I've got a shirt, I've got a quarter zip, I've got a hoodie, I've got the hat, the shoes, the space heater, which isn't keeping up. I think I still will be sweaty, though. This will be the true test.
Yeah. It's I always will remember the days of high school with you standing outside with a hoodie and shorts on in the dead of winter, 2-3 feet of snow on the ground. We're all bundled up, and there's Mitch, the Canadian, in his cargo shorts. Those days have come and gone for sure, as you look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man down there in the ice box.
It's pretty much me at work now, too, just all bundled up. Pretty cold. Got a big puffy jacket to take to the bus as well.
Oh, all right, VTech. We're talking about some cheese up there in Wisconsin. Oh yeah, I have a good amount. You're not from Wisconsin. You've never visited. You don't have real family up there. If you don't have a shirt about cheese from the state, I think I have a couple, but that's besides the fact here. We are still on board with the Ferraris. Callie Robb trying to join his teammate Race Day, still sitting atop the podium in provisional pole, the 1-2-6-7. There are caution flags all over the map for yielding cars, and we have just about 8.5 minutes to go. Q1 and only is just about halfway through. And we are starting to see most of the times pop up on here. No one really dipping below a 1:28, except for Scavney down there in the Haas. We'll see how he improves through the back half of qualifying today. But we still have 4 or 5 drivers yet to make their way out onto the track. And we just lost our HUD, so I'm not sure what's up with that, but...
What's up with what?
We lost the times in the standings.
Oh, I was just hiding them.
Whoa! Okay.
You.
Okay. Yeah. No.
I know you don't like change.
That is a producer note that I did not hear in my ear before it happened. So I was very confused. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. We do want to take a quick second and thank, of course, our Division 1 stewards and commissioners. Thank you, Pork Chops, Lancy, and Knuckles, the head D1 steward for this season, for maintaining consistency throughout all of the divisions, especially D1, doing all of the heavy lifting after the checkered flag waves every Thursday night. So thank you very much to those 3 and others who contribute on a week-to-week basis as needed for the steward reviews. Thank you very much.
I knew you were really bent out of shape that you forgot that last time. We just have got Palmer in the Williams setting the fastest lap with a 1:26.438. And we also had Aero Racing Design in Alpine going 4th, now 5th with Scott Palmer jumping up. So Ferrari has been knocked off of pole position for now.
A very strong improvement for Aero Racing Design following last week in Monaco. I believe he finished 16th out of 16 last week in that race. But yeah, seeing Gott Palmer up there in qualifying, no surprise, as that Williams has been a qualifying menace this year. Absolutely on pace when it comes to setting fastest laps. So fun to see that. And yeah, I was really upset last week that I didn't get to thank the stewards. As a fledgling roller derby referee. I know how important it is to give the flowers to the folks behind the scenes. So I really take it to heart to thank all those guys every single race. They deserve it as much as these drivers do. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox there. Thank you to all the refs. Thanks, refs.
I appreciate it. I was a ref as a teenager, I guess I would say.
Yeah, oh, you did like the Pee-wees, right?
Oh yeah,
Like
for
Knights hockey.
Real intense stuff.
Kneecap hockey. I remembered your recaps. You were like, oh, today was a great game.
Oh yeah.
Eight kids were in the net at once, and one kid came through and bowled them all.
I had to help stand them back up on their skates. Had to try and explain the concept of offsides to kids who can't even see the lines because they're so close to the ice. They can't see the lines.
What do you
It's just not in their field of view.
I don't understand. I know. How much would you get?
I have a small grasp of the rule, kid. I can't help you.
How much would you net during one of those games? Was it like a cool $20? It was like a $30 game. Oh, we have big spin in pit lane.
I think it was 10 to 20. I was training. It wasn't bad.
That's good change. You run by the gas station, run by Sheets afterwards.
Grab a Caesars.
Yeah. Oh my God, the Little Caesars $5 hot and ready. You can get 2 for $10. Oh, the economy these days. I did not talk about the replacement drivers, but as we just saw, Travis Scott's is in the AlphaTauri replacement for Ryan Rodds once again, who is on an extended break from D1 racing. He will resume his seat presumably later this season. I thought today was the return race, but that might be one more week away. We just saw Scarenzi almost do the same thing, tank that front right tire into the wall. This is, I mean, it goes without saying, it is a very difficult pit entry and exit here in Jeddah. It does not make it easy.
It comes upon you quick. Actually, I know it's different, a little different in Formula One, but for my GR3 racing league, I've never been one to go back into the pits during qualifying because I'm changing now, but I didn't feel like I just benefited from being out on the track more and getting used to the tires than stopping, putting a fresh set on, doing another out lap that doesn't count towards your time. I'd rather just get that extra lap opportunity. But also for that reason too, if it's a tough pit entry, I might just eat the wall.
Screw it. We don't need, who needs a pit?
Safest place for me is to be out on track.
Don't stop the momentum. Yep. Once it starts, the car will not stop. I need you to understand. I cannot be clearer. We are on board with the old McLaren livery. The first one to dropping that blue. I can't wait for the next season. That car is going to look mean. Meaner than it does on camera right now. Still looking pretty mean there with that livery from last year. But it's Gunner trying to get a grip, get a hold of a higher spot on the grid. Gunner has been duking it out in the back half of grid in the last few races here, and his teammate Houdini down in 19th, currently in the pits, was unfortunately, as we said earlier, spun out due to Scarenzi's little pirouette incident last week in Monaco. So both of these McLarens just looking to, first and foremost, stay in the race until the end tonight.
We've got an opportunity, too. They are 3 points behind AlphaTauri, who sits in 7th for the Constructors' Cup. So they have the chance to take that jump and move up into 7th. 6th place, Mercedes is 100 points ahead, so that one might be unreachable with how late is left in the season. Never know, though. We'll see.
Never say never, but...
Might also have to change the name of the AlphaTauris. I thought it was fake, what they were showing. They just changed over on Instagram today to Visa Cash App RB.
Wait a minute.
Unless that was, I got punked by the meme.
Update me here? I thought it was Racing Bulls.
Oh, yes. No, it is the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls.
Oh. Wow, that sucks. That sucks real bad.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, yeah, well, that's like the, oh God, what is it? The Stake F1 team.
Kick Sauber.
The Stake F1 team kick Sauber Racing or something, so they can reformat it, for different jurisdictions, nationwide or worldwide. Interesting design, but yeah, I absolutely hate the names. Why don't we just stick with... all right, we'll stay off the soapbox for tonight. We're taking a look at the comments on the YouTube Live. Executive producer Bob Comito, Coach 34, asking the group, any thoughts on tire strategies for tonight's race? And VTech kindly chirping in, saying softs to mediums. So we'll see how many drivers pick the softs to mediums. And of course, if you have that lineup, you're going to have the opposite. There will be at least one or two drivers out there with the mediums to softs. Mitch, do you see anyone trying hard tires for the long stay out here tonight? Do you sacrifice grip in these really, really fast, fast-paced corners for durability and, possibly an endurance run here?
I'm not sure yet. It's going to be at night. It's a little bit colder. It's a lot of weaving, but there's not a lot of aggressive turns, so I don't know if you'd be worried about that as much, to be honest. Someone will try it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we will be on board to see the outcomes, I am sure. On board now with Scarenzi as he tries to cross the line at speed. Will he be able to move up any? He will not. He'll stay in 6th place. Gott Palmer is taking yet another pole position here in week 11 as we look toward the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here, the Jeddah Corniche circuit. And Sharia Coleslaw is going to take a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Not a great start to the day. I don't think I'm going out on a limb in saying that.
Yeah, didn't see it. That one's too hard, I think, for the stewards to be able to just, fix before the race starts.
Yeah, we have some paddock chats coming through now. Travis Scott's apologizing to Electric Blade, saying, my bad, thought you were on an outlap. T-Nell saying, I invalidated. That's unfortunate. Bobbert Yates, I'm so bad. T-Nell was saying that he possibly had a 1 minute, 26 seconds and 45 on the clock. So he might have been a competitor there if he didn't invalidate his final lap. But that's racing. He is going to start 4th in the Alfa Romeo kick. But there it is. Gott Palmer, race day, Aero Racing Design, and T-Nell will start the grid here in Saudi Arabia. It's the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix from Jeddah Corniche Circuit on Nick and Mitch. Racing action up next. Tonight, we swap the Mediterranean shores for the electrifying desert streets of Jeddah. Beneath the star-studded Arabian sky, bathed in the glow of 1,000 floodlights, the world's fastest street circuit awaits. Forget the tight hairpins. Forget Monaco's glamorous heart. Tonight, it's all about conquering the high-speed symphony of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. You know the scene. 3.83 miles of pure pulse-pounding speed, 27 corners snaking through the modern metropolis, featuring a bevy of high-speed straights, tight chicanes, and plenty of DRS zones, offering those fleeting chances at full beams. This ain't no test of finesse. Here, raw power, and lightning-fast reflexes reign supreme. The driver who can master the rhythm of the circuit, who can dance between the walls at these breakneck speeds, is the one who will be crowned champion under the stars. Now, Mitch, I know you have the numbers lined up for us. How is the points race shaping up after last week's yard sale, and who's carrying momentum into tonight's Desert Showdown?
I hate to break it, but we are restarting the lobby. No! And I did not necessarily want this background to be the background that we had for that. So, we will come back to that.
Take two. Please hold for technical difficulties. Oh, it happens. There we go. There's the picture of Speed Demon right there.
It's the perfect one. There's the camera.
Hey, let's turn my light back on.
Several of those blocking penalties that occurred that were unwarranted, caused by the game. So they decided that they would restart the lobby to try and get people there because one of the drivers had two blocking penalties. So 10 grid positions he would have dropped. A little unfair for something that you didn't do.
Jeez, oh man. Yeah, it is that's upsetting. That's someone saying, Houdini saying, weekly reminder that this game is fine. F123 is not known as the most renowned racing simulator in existence. But it's the license. It's who holds the license. So we're just going to grin and bear it here. We will get through the technical restart. Well, I guess it wasn't even a restart. We haven't even started yet. So they'll get the cars lined up and we will get back to grid. We're going to redo that intro one more time.
You killed it though.
Thanks.
Breaking my heart. I was hoping that I could make it work, and then we just dead air until the race starts. But it was gonna have a weird background.
We jump on video and just stare at the camera in silence until the race comes back.
Sam, I missed the start of the race now, but you're getting that intro.
We love it. What do you have for dinner tonight? What'd you cook up?
We had a burger. I know it's not that exciting. I'm trying to think of what.
No, it is though.
On there with sweet pickle mayo and then Cajun fries.
Oh!
So you can dip in the sweet potato mayo.
Did you put any of those sweet potato fries on the burger?
Did I see sweet potatoes? Sweet pickle mayo.
You said sweet pickle mayo and Cajun fries.
Yes.
Did you put any of those Cajun fries on that burger?
I did not.
Missing out. I don't know. I don't tend to do seasoned fries on my burger, but I do like stacking a good steak fry or a waffle fry on a burger. That's great.
You had something good. Is that something that you made, or is that something that exists?
No. We made this. Well, my fiance made this. She has been on a new recipe kick lately, and she just told me, she's like, go take this Pinterest board that I've been building for like 3 years and just select whatever you want, and that's what we're eating this week. So it's been cold here, so we're doing a lot of like comfort food and the kind of stuff that's going to stick to your bones, you know. And tonight we did a French onion soup gnocchi, whatever you want to call it, GNOCCI. But yeah, it was a French onion gnocchi. So it wasn't a soup. It was like just, it was like a sauce, but the sauce was French onion soup, basically. It was dangerous. And then we topped it with like Gruyere and all that and threw it in the oven and browned it. Oh, so
it just sounds incredible.
It was phenomenal. I'm showing up, and thankfully, we usually cook together, but Thursday nights, we obviously have racing. We get the pre-show ready, do our little bit of research, watching highlights, all that stuff. I'm busy on Thursdays when I come home from work. So thankfully, she doesn't just give me a grilled cheese sandwich and send me on my way. She gave me that bowl, which I'm like still full. I ate 3 hours ago and I'm still full. So thank you very much, Katie. Probably not watching from bed right now. Probably doing something else, but
actually falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's tough when it's so cold out too and dark early. I find myself harder and harder to get up off the couch.
Yeah.
Once a month, we're good.
Yeah, it's coming home from work, getting into those PJs, and just hunkering down is always the best. Getting up to bed's always the best. Getting up in the morning, not fun. Never fun. I kind of
Unless
grumble around.
you get to shovel.
We were talking about
that. And
Yeah.
I think tomorrow we're supposed to get anywhere from 1 to 5 inches, but it's supposed to start at like 5 a.m. so I can get up and shovel. We might both be working from home, but I'm still just gonna get up early, go shovel.
You
then,
have to.
Every half an hour go back outside.
You absolutely have to. Our forecast is a bit before yours. We're supposed to get 1 to 3, and I think it's starting at like 1 or 2 in the morning, going until like 8 a.m. So I will wake up to snow that I will be able to drink my coffee in the morning and then go shovel to start my day. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's awesome. I love it. You know, I understand people have a big aversion to the cold, but especially now living in Maryland, we haven't seen snow like this in 3 years, the past 3 years. So this is such a special treat for us. I was used to growing up with snow every year. So it's very alien to have a kind of drought like this. So I'm enjoying every single moment. Even my neighbor shoveled the front sidewalk the other day. So you know what I did? I went over and I did all of our cars. He hadn't got his car yet. So we dusted his car off after I dusted mine off. I just needed something to do. I needed some excuse to be outside in the snow for a little bit, because a grown, almost 30-year-old man can't just be sledding with all the kids. All the school kids.
You totally can. You got to live near a college campus like me, and then it's fine. You just go to the hill, take your snowboard. I might take my skis down the street.
That's true. Yeah, we do have a lot of campuses around town. We're by
In
the
my,
water, though.
you've
We're
seen it.
flat.
If we never get this much snow, my street would be like the perfect X Games slope style course,
Slalom. Yeah.
because it has like 5 parts where like hill, flat, hill, flat, hill, flat as streets cross. So you could do like rail, flat, kicker, 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 and have the real slope style setup.
You get right on that.
I might be out there all day tomorrow with a single shovel. Just
Honestly, Casey Neistat is no longer like the vlogger status that he used to be. But you remember that blizzard in New York when we were both in college? And he took the snowboard through Times Square when it was shut down for a couple of days. He got towed by a Jeep. I think that's a viable case to get Casey Neistat to Pittsburgh, home of the steepest drivable roads in the world, the steepest paved roads in the world, and try to get him to rip down one of those on his snowboard in like a slope style. Yeah. I think we have a big video on our hands here.
And Tom Walsh, he can do the real ski portion of it.
100%. You get steep out there to film and cover the. Yeah, we have it built. Just call PennDOT and tell them not to plow that street tomorrow.
That doesn't. Don't worry about that. If it goes any longer this delay, I might have to show you my shovel because I got a cool one from.
Oh, do you want to go whip out your shovel? I can vamp.
No, because I'm gonna have to open the door and then it's gonna be a whole thing. Basically, got a second like flexible handle coming off of it.
Dip? Oh,
that
you got like a weed whacker handle.
Yeah, kind of like that. So then when it's there, you can lift.
Yeah.
My driveway also has those retaining walls on both sides, so you can just like do that and then lift. So you don't have to like, break my old man back as I lift up the snow.
That's awesome. Oh, that is like I've never seen one.
And it's like
with,
flexible. It's on a little like
yeah. So you can like pivot it.
Yep.
That's awesome. That is my weed whacker. I have an all-in-one weed whacker that like can also house into a little cart and turn it into basically
we should
a
probably
vacuum
start.
cleaner. Let's start the race. Tonight, we swap the Mediterranean shores for the electrifying desert streets of Jeddah. Beneath the star-studded Arabian sky, bathed in the glow of 1,000 floodlights, the world's fastest street circuit awaits. Forget the tight hairpins. Forget Monaco's glamorous heart. Tonight is all about conquering the high-speed symphony of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. You know the scene. 3.83 miles of pure pulse-pounding speed. 27 corners sneaking through the modern metropolis, featuring a bevy of high-speed straights, tight chicanes, and plenty of DRS zones, offering those fleeting chances at full beans. This ain't no test of finesse. Here, raw power and lightning-fast reflexes will reign supreme. The driver who can master the rhythm of the circuit, who can dance between the walls at these breakneck speeds, is the only one who will be crowned champion under the stars. Now, Mitch, I know you have the numbers lined up for us in a second. How is the points race shaping up after last week's yard sale, and who's carrying momentum into tonight's Desert Showdown?
Well, we had a dramatic incident-filled race in Monaco, and there has been a major shakeup in the standings. Ferrari has stormed to the top of the Constructors' Championship table, with race day's Monaco victory propelling the iconic Italian team 82 points clear of the second-place Aston Martin. The British team's nightmare in Monte Carlo saw both drivers fail to finish, with penalties adding insult to injury. The chaos in the streets allowed Red Bull to leapfrog Williams into fourth place, with just 8 points separating the two. The rest of the teams held steady in their positions, but they're surely keeping an eye on the competition. In the Drivers' Championship, race day's heroics have seen him climb to second, just a single point behind Scarenzi. Week 11 could be the first time we've had a driver change in the best driver since Week 6's action in Mexico. The championship standings are tighter than ever before, with every point, position, and podium crucial in the battle for glory. Buckle up, F1 fans, because we're in for a nail-biting race. Can Ferrari maintain its momentum? Will Aston Martin bounce back from its Monaco meltdown? And who will emerge victorious in the ever-closer fight for the championship crown?
The pressure is on. Week 11 from Jeddah is next. This is Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch.
And we still have a little bit of time to spare. I think we nailed that one. And I know the drivers have been reminded, but if you're somehow listening to this and still haven't, don't forget to change your setups again now that we're in a new lobby.
Yeah, make sure you have those. There's always one driver who will inevitably forget. That happened last week in D2 in Monaco as well after 2 weeks ago. After a restart. We're on a formation lap here in Jeddah. The green lights are on. Drivers have a chance to warm up these tires on a cooling desert night track. Looks like our front runners are starting out just like VTech predicted on softs, likely to transition to mediums later on after they get some space here on the track. This is one where you definitely want to break away early and try and set those intervals at as far as possible. But I mean, look at that. Our front two on softs. Everybody else, the majority's on mediums. And then we do have the Mercedes and a Williams, both rocking those hards, also like we predicted.
It's a complete spread throughout the grid and no real rhyme or reason. I think at this point it comes down to personal preference. You typically see sometimes the leaders going on softs because they can try to build up a little bit of a gap. Since they'll start at the front, they can break away, come in, just put on more durable tires, and then ride out the rest of the race. Drivers behind might have to hold on a little bit. And the possible race strategies, we have soft to medium or medium to hard. So sorry for you guys starting on hard, but Amazon has no recommendations for you.
Oh, Jeff doesn't know what to do? That's a first. I don't think we've seen a strategy not be available in the strategy predictions. AWS is flipping. You heard it here first.
Hard to medium, hard to soft too.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it all depends on how hard you're going to push. This isn't a track that really demands a ton out of the tires. But, if you're caught up in a lot of racing and you're caught up in a lot of action, forcing some sharp maneuvers, they may shed those tires down fast enough to warrant mediums. But I'm sure those drivers are looking for the long stay on the hards with a late game strategy, trying to move up in the points or in position, and then swapping to softs there at the very end. But 25 laps remain, and just about an hour, we will have all of our answers to the questions leading up to tonight's action. Again, we want to thank everyone over at Midwest eSports for hosting the Formula One divisions. This is season 11, and what a season it has been. These drivers closer than ever in the points with only a handful of races to go. Everything is on the line, and the lights are out. We are away racing in Jeddah. It is Got Palmer atop the pack, followed by Race Day's Ferrari, Aero Racing, and T-Nell back and forth. T-Nell goes with GSR Edwin. He's going to maintain his positioning, but look at all of the movement over on the left hand on the board. Lit up like an absolute Christmas tree through the entire grid, except for our front runners. Got Palmer getting away cleanly. Him and Race Day will battle it out later in the race. We do have the replacement driver, Travis Scott's in the AlphaTauri, spun out. He is going to start the race here from last place. Doesn't look like there was any collision, any incidents other than just some spinning there. There may be a story to uncover later after the race, but unfortunate there. Travis Scott's been doing really well this season as a replacement for Ryan Rods.
Looked like a lot of the drivers are getting bunched up turn 3, 4, 5 area. I saw a couple going wide, and we didn't quite see what happened to Travis Scott's, but he was in that little mix-up area, so may have been, I think, a little incidentals with so many cars trying to take a smaller section of the track.
Yeah, it makes sense. That is a bottleneck there at the start, but luckily we did not see any major damage. Now, we do have caution in Sector 3, but that has been waved off, so we are good to resume action. Shout out VTech. That was impressive. I was very happy to see that strategy was played out in the front runners here. We do have a fastest lap set by, I missed the name.
I believe it was Got Palmer.
Thank you, Got Palmer, setting the fastest lap. It was a 1:30 something. We'll see another one eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. We just had T-Nell going past Aero Racing Design to take third place in the race. Nice little overtake through these nice sweeping bends.
Yeah, he was able to get that line perfect. I mean, look at that bunch, that 5-car pileup right behind him. Was able to get away from that and just build such a gap between that mess. Well done to T-Nell. That was perfect placement, right place, right time. Aero Racing Design dropping down to 7th place in that pileup. It is GSR Edwin, followed by Scarenzi and Callie Robb. We're all able to get past the Alpine in that technical section.
I think that area is a bit of a mental trick whenever you go through it, because it gets wider, you have more runoff room, and it's you do have to kind of hit it perfectly. When there's 3 cars, it's very easy to just go off track a little bit and try to come back on. So you'll see some shakeups happen.
I may be talking out of my ears here, but I'm pretty sure that was the scene, that was the location of a pretty spectacular incident last season. Race Day setting fastest lap to 1:30.5 on the soft tires. As he now takes the lead. Race Day is leading Got Palmer and T-Nell in the podium chase in lap 3. But I believe that opening, we did go 3 wide, and someone made a critical move and spun somebody else out. Again, that might not have been this track last season, but yeah, it's a very, very daunting spot in the circuit. Right in here. It looks like we have a bit of swapping going on in the back of the pack. Gunnar Aldi and Scavney going back and forth, and it is Gunnar who comes out of that scrum on top and now sitting in 15th above the Haas. Haas dividing him from his teammate Houdini. Electric Blade also going up above Fireballer, and now it's Scavney once again. These two are locked in it through these twists and turns. Scavney going to try and put some distance between the two McLarens. he does so, getting almost half a second separation from Gunner. That's not enough to get him out of the DRS zone, though. Gunner closing in 2/10 now behind Scabney. We have movement all over the map now. GSR Edwin now sitting in third above T-Nell as well.
Ooh, yeah, and we had Bobbert Yates going a bit wide on the last turn, making a little bump on the wall, but his car seems to be okay for now. Definitely don't want to go out in that spot, and Fireballer was just behind him, was hoping that Bobby could keep that car together.
Much like Discord comments, Bobbert dancing on the line. Caesar goes wide in the Mercedes, pardon me, but that has no effect, so there will be no penalty awarded. Aero Racing, there is a massive pileup. It's Aero Racing. It's Caesar. Cars
Cynical.
are dropping. It's Cynical who is out in the Aston Martin. Aero Racing Design spun around, but may be able to regain. There looks like there's some car left out on the track. That is so unfortunate. But very lucky that there were only 2 cars, as it seems right now, 2 cars affected. Cynical is out of today's race, and we have a safety car deployed, full safety car deployed here. It's lap 4 in Saudi Arabia. Race day and Ferrari lead Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here in week 11 of Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 racing. Taking a look here, it looks like we're going to get some of these rock stars into the pits for their quick swaps. No surprise that we're seeing both of the front runners on softs head in for a swap as well. You might as well.
Do you have Fireballer on the hard tires, GSR Edwin on his mediums, as the only ones, maybe Nicky. Jeez. He's a healthy bit behind the pack right now. I think he was tied up in something, though. So we have just 2 drivers out there on the track.
Gotta love it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Almost like the slightly different scenario, but the Lewis Hamilton being the only car out on the grid for the race restart.
Yeah, right.
We just have the single Mercedes and then the Williams behind him as the only 2 behind this safety car.
Oh, we love a technicality. Yeah,
Right
that
there.
was such an iconic start. Just
So are we at the end of a race here where it's only 2 remaining? Just
Yeah,
like
can
when
you
you and I
imagine-
do a shootout race?
Could you imagine turning the TV on, getting so excited? Oh man, I missed most of the race, but I'll be able to at least catch the end. Wait a minute. What happened here? There's only 2 cars.
The downside for these gentlemen is that the pack has already caught up to them. Now for Fireballer, he's on hards, so that could still play into his strategy quite well.
GSR Edwin is going to fade fast. Maybe not in terms of the race, but in terms of the rest of the pack. He already has 4 laps on top of everybody else's mediums who are brand spanking new. So we'll see how this strategy plays out for these 2 front runners. It
I
could.
can see it still playing in
It
his
could.
favor. We have a lot of drivers that went to hard tires that might try to stick those out. Edwin would still have the option of either going too soft or too hard, depending on how they hold up in this race.
We did see, who was it? Kate Thomas last week in Division 2 ran a set of medium tires for, I believe it was 27 laps before pitting in Monaco. It was just spectacular to watch. So to say you might want to try and get 20 laps, well, now 19 laps around Jeddah on a set of hards is not out of the question by any means. But it will come into play later in the race if the bunching remains. If these guys need to remain evasive, a little light on their feet, they may opt for one more change onto softs to close today's race out, just for the sake of traction. But these guys can just get back to running. Hards are looking like they're going to be the answer, pending any other safety car issues. Air Racing Design still in the pits. and apologizing during that extra time, making sure to reach out to Cynical to just say, sorry, all of my skill just left my body in that instant. So looks like Aero Racing, while we didn't see it on camera, Aero Racing is taking fault for the incident, the safety car incident here in Jeddah that caused MMR Cynical's DNF from the race here pretty early on. That is so unfortunate for Aston Martin, who is now fighting for their life in the Constructors. Every point definitely counts here towards the end of the season, and that is just a huge blow. Scarenzi has all the weight on his shoulders right now.
It's going to make it tough for them to really fight back in this. With Ferrari has been, with both of these teams, if both drivers finish, they are consistently in the top 10. I think Ferrari has had a slightly higher average, maybe for both drivers.
Yeah.
Aston Martin has a bit more of like Scarenzi up on top.
Yeah,
but,
right.
You don't know what's going to happen, right? Same thing could happen the next two races, but with a Ferrari car. And sorry if we just jinxed you for that.
We love a commentator's curse.
He gave a big curse last week to who was it? Someone I raced with.
It was, oh gosh, I can't remember. Hey, I need you to take the weight of the world on your shoulders, much like Scarenzi. I'm already out of all of my water that I allocated for today's race. It was poor strategy on my part, but I do have to go fill that up before the safety car is back in.
Well, you go ahead and do that. You have probably approximately a minute and a half until they get around this track one more time.
Call me McLaren. I'll be real quick.
Oh, I'm sure you will be. Always full of promise at the beginning of the season. Just realized he's also not here to laugh at that joke that I said, because he is going to fill his water. I believe it was Ray last week. Raced with him in the GT7 League. Gave him a nice little commentator's curse, and I think in qualifying in the rain in Monaco, and then in the race he had something happen. This race, looking at the standings, could also be promising for Williams right now, with Fireballer and Gott Palmer up in second and fourth. Williams is in fifth. They are 8 points behind Red Bull, and then about 50 points behind Alpine. So that race for third, still open for those three teams. After that, Mercedes has the drop of about 100 points at 617, and then the rest of the teams.
Hey, why'd the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. We're back to racing in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's week 11 action. Our Edwin will lead the race at the restart in his Mercedes.
I don't know if you saw that on my screen, but I just clicked the mute button on you, so...
Oh, no.
Halfway through after that joke, that was a fantastic one. I gotta give it to you.
Good. Yeah, that's the proper reaction.
You do have the power to just shut your mic off at any point, which is a good thing, to be honest.
Hey, now. Well, VTech, definitely has the crystal ball here tonight with the tire strategies already, but it's predicting another safety car very soon. And with how slidey GSR Edwin looked around that corner, it might be the front runner. But Tinel definitely getting a jump on Gott Palmer up into fourth place. Callie Robb and Bacon now swapping spots for 8th and 9th. It's Bacon coming out on top through the chicane section. Tinel now Gott Palmer and Fireballer going back and forth. It's a race between the Williams. Gott Palmer.
Renzi's going to challenge Fireballer now too.
It sure does. He is closing fairly steadily, keeping under 2/10 behind Fireball. And there he goes, Scarenzi up into 5th. Now Gott Palmer is next on the menu. We do see some movement in the rear of the grid. Nicky getting past Gunner. Travis Scott's and Houdini going back and forth. Houdini trying to join Gunner, his teammate, in the wall. He's able to get there. We'll see if they can hold on to that grouping. And now Fireballer is dropped into 8th.
And Race Day taking first from GSR Edwin in the final DRS section of the map.
There's so much happening.
This one can really lead to it with those 2 DRS zones relatively back-to-back. I guess you got 3. All 3 kind of in that Sector 2, Sector 3 section of the track. There's a lot of opportunity to pass in that section. And with how fast the course is outside of DRS, you still have some opportunities to get some nice drafts and then overtakes them.
Yeah, this is, it's a different kind of mental game, certainly. 2 cars running wide. There is debris on the course. Looks like the Mercedes of GSR Caesar and the Williams of Fireballer ran wide there. Bit of contact with Bobbert Yates as he passes the Alpine of Nicky there. These guys are just playing pinball all over the place here tonight, but luckily not seeing a caution flag. 2 cars running wide. That still, Bobbert Yates is just, I'm not sure what's going on with the AlphaTauri, but something seems to be up with his line. Let's see if he can get back into the rhythm of things. I was just going to say that this track is such a mental game. And at these speeds, you really need to block out a lot of elements and just drive your line. Make sure that you're optimizing every single lap because, like you said, even outside of DRS, there are still opportunities to gain position, to gain timing. And just like that, DRS now enabled as Gott Palmer sets a fastest lap with a 1:30.5.
I was wondering if Bobby maybe picked up some underbody damage on his car. I don't see anything visibly apparent, but he was substantially slower than the rest of the drivers out there, and they weren't afraid to do a pass. So we'll see if his car comes back out or if he will retire for the session. Looks like they have a wing prepared on the front.
Yep, there goes a wing. Maybe it was one of the front winglets that we saw flying off during that brief contact. Yeah, it looks like that was the issue. Bobbert Yates will rejoin the pack with a brand new wing as his teammate, replacement driver Travis Scott, moves past Electric Blade up into 17th. We're on board now with T-Nell, so we see the front of the pack. T-Nell very, very close to the back of Gott Palmer. We'll see what he can do here through this lap. Definitely not going to make it easy on the Williams driver by any means.
Not at all. And you can see Scarenzi and Edwin battling in the background as well.
Yeah, Scarenzi, I was just going to say he's within a 10th. He's within, he was already past him. And there goes T-Nell under a 10th on Gott Palmer. T-Nell now up into 2nd place where he belongs. He was saying that he allegedly would have had the fastest lap in qualifying if it wasn't for an invalidated lap. T-Nell now proving that position was warranted as he continues to fight with Gott Palmer. Dips down into 3rd place, but is by no means out of today's race. The Red Bulls trading spots, and Scarenzi still is biding his time. How many times have we seen this before, this scene play out, where 2 cars in front of Scarenzi are duking it out, and he just patiently waits for that elusive double overtake. At least to gain 1, if not 2 positions in 1 move. Let's just sit back, wait, see what happens, make a move when it's time.
We could see that happen out here on the track. I do expect that it will come down to some late race antics once again. This course always is set up for that, much like Brazil. There are usually several fights for the top positions going until the very end. And with those DRS zones being so close to the finish, it becomes a battle in the last few laps. Do you want to do the overtake now, or are you going to save it for the last lap and hope that you can make a move?
Well, race day is approaching that ever helpful 3-second interval mark. Not saying that he is going to run wide. We do have another spin. It is Nicky in the Alpine. We caught that on the stream. It looked like it might have been the Williams. someone was in contact or close to it around that corner, and Nikki just dipping out as fast as possible, trying to get, or was that Arrow again? Sorry, it's one of the Alpines. Everyone's fine. It looks like we're fine. We're all good. Just a little scary.
It's all fine.
It's all fine. T-Nell's back up into second place. Hey, look at that. Houdini and Travis Scott's now going back and forth through the whoop-de-bit. You like that?
Whoop-de-bit, the squirrely bit. I think you're starting to explain, like, Pittsburgh intersections.
You know, and you know the exact one I'm talking about.
Yep, the 15
it was
weird intersection map.
The whoop-de-bit intersection is the one that I actually braked way too hard on when I was in Pittsburgh for the game.
Oh, yeah.
We have a caution flag in Sector 1, but it was quickly waved off. We are still under green here on board with Houdini in lap 12 of action here. Race day just continues to build a lead on T-Nell and Gott Palmer as these two continue to battle it out. Gott Palmer sitting just 2/10 behind T-Nell. Now one, he is by no means letting T-Nell have this one easily. This could very well be a race, a scrap to the very end. And just as we move back to the top of the pack, Electric Blade overtaking MMR Sui. The Haas now sitting in 14th. Gott Palmer is now leading. T-Nell missed that one. There's so much going on. I absolutely love, say what you will, I love the triple DRS here in Jeddah. I mean, just look at this. We can't speak on every single, overtake and incident in enough time throughout the lap. It's constant.
Yeah, there's so much action going on, and you have those back-to-back overtake zones. And then, of course, right at the finish line, you have people stopping for pits, which can throw up different green and red arrows on the side, which make it look like a lot of passing's happening. And you only watch one at a time.
Yeah, definitely. You're doing so much work, so much lifting here tonight as the camera op, as well as commentator. Thank you again for fronting all of that stress.
I just press buttons.
I love it. I also love this. Gott Palmer and T-Nell still just duking it out. And also another back and forth. Yeah, Caesar and Sharia Coleslaw. These two have been swapping spots for the better part of this race as well. Sharia trying to make up that gap one more time. Bet you I can guess where it's going to happen.
Oh, I'm sure you can. Still have Red Bull. We're back 7 and 8. This team is set up, I don't know if it's intentional, but they are so consistently in that 7 through 11 spot, both drivers every single race. And I can't think of one off the top of my head where they've really been out of the race or DNF. So they're sitting in 4th right now. They moved up over Williams after last week and about 40 points behind Alpine. They're just so consistent in the middle of the pack that they then rise above the pack because they're always there and they're always raking in points.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. That kind of consistency, while it may not bring podiums, it may not bring the hardware home. I mean, they're 4th in the constructors. They still have a fighting chance. It's phenomenal. There is definitely something to say for that. Keeping a level head and keeping that kind of consistency while you are just in the thick of it every single race, knowing that it's going to be a battle, knowing it's going to be a chore. You just kind of roll your sleeves up and get it done. But there we have another huge wreck. It is the Haas of Scavney overcorrecting, going straight into the wall, lopping off that front right tire. There's debris all over the corner, and a safety car has been deployed. That was unfortunate. It really just looked like he lost control of the corner there. Don't know if he was trying to evade one of the Red Bulls, but nonetheless, just unfortunate snap and an absolute dismantling of that front right tire.
And what a break for, most of these drivers were riding at the end of their life on their tires. Some of them might stay out, and we did have GSR Caesar all the way down in 14th. He was on fresh laps, but looks like he was far enough away from the pits that he's not going to really move up too much unless these next few drivers in front of him. Thought maybe he'd be able to sneak out and get a cheeky shot at the lead.
Talking about a cheeky shot. Look at all these soft tires that are making their way back out onto the grid.
With 10 laps to go, too.
Yeah. That could... I don't know. These guys know what they're doing, I think.
Again, like 7 to 10 laps is probably the life of soft tire, depending on the track. And now you have the race leader, race day, on medium tires, and the 4 drivers behind him on fresh softs, which may die by the end of this race if we don't have another safety car. But they can get in front of him. If they can get in front of him early, it's not going to matter at that point.
Right. I mean,
although out of all of them, if race day can use that late tire life in these DRS zones, he could get a couple passes in the final lap.
Race Day is definitely a contender who can play that strategy and really, really benefit from it. Purely speculating here, do you think some of these drivers switching to softs are anticipating another safety car? Or do you think most of them went in with the mindset of, I think I can finish the race on these, let's go?
I think it would, being in those positions, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, it's trying to just make your attack now. Because you don't know what's going to happen by the end of the race. But if you can get out here and like you have to start making moves in the final 10 laps, now's the time. If the tires die, so be it, right? You might get lucky, you might get that safety car, or you might get the overtake and be able to pull the driver.
Part of racing is taking risks, and 10 laps to go here. Most of the grid decided that risk was definitely worth the reward. It is going to be a whole lot grittier out here with all of these softs, especially that plays into the mental game as well. All these guys are picking up the faster, grippier tires, trying to make their money moves now. But with just 9 laps to go, are you going to risk it and possibly risk a DNF with just 9 laps to go on these overtakes? I think there may be too many cooks in the kitchen here. I'm predicting another safety car before the end of this race because someone's going to get a little overzealous with their brand new shoes and just scoot themselves right into a wall, much like Scavney just did.
I think that could happen with a couple laps left too as those tires start to age out. It also comes down to how much preparation you put in before this race.
True.
I know a lot of drivers, a lot of leagues, you know the exact lap expectancy of each tire, of each track, and your expected lap time on each tire and all of that. And, you know, at this point with 10 laps, like we said, and that being right on the border of soft or medium tire lifespan, that's something if you know for sure you can take those soft tires 10 laps and you just manage the car a bit, you're in a much better position than someone that says, yeah, why not? Let's try it.
You saying it's all about preparation and how much you prepared for this really reminded me of my old trumpet professors. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through this piece on stage. Oh, it's all about how much you prepare. Yeah, true. You're right there.
Then you also get that like dash of talent, and not like saying I was great or anything. I know a lot of people had this, but I could show up to a weekly trumpet lesson. And the guy say, "I could tell you practice that," and my mom was like, "He didn't touch his trumpet."
Yeah. After a while, they started catching on with my tricks.
Yeah. They catch on, and the downside is when you eventually don't perform and you crash and you didn't prepare, it's awful.
Well, it looks like the safety car is headed in, which means we will be back underway here shortly. Lap 16, soon to be 17, as time ticks down. Hey, Mitch, the other day I saw 2 fish in a tank. One of them turned to the other one and said, "Hey, do you know how to drive this thing?" A tank, get it? We are back underway. Lap 17 here in Jeddah. Race day leads the pack yet again in the mighty Ferrari, followed closely by the Alfa Romeo of Tinel. The Williams have got Palmer. Scarenzi has finally made his berth into the front of the pack in 4th place. He's definitely going to look to stay close to Gott Palmer and bust his way up into the podium. But it is once again a waiting game, as Tinel and Race Day have just absolutely taken off from the rest of the pack.
Race Day waited like very late into that finish line straight before taking off, as the leader of the pack, he gets, kind of set the pace and decide when he wants to take off. And it wasn't right at the last corner. It was about halfway from the corner to the finish line, making everyone wait in anticipation. Just like the red light countdown, maybe he can get that extra 2/10 of a second just by catching people by surprise.
That's always a fun strategy. I really like when drivers play into that. As much as I have comments about Verstappen as a driver, I really do enjoy watching him do that on the weekends as well. Gotta play with everyone. It's a great strategy, and here we go. Another great strategy, just straight up horsepower in the straight. It's Tinel taking first place for the first time tonight, able to get past the Ferrari of Race Day. We'll see if he can hold it through the chicane section here. Race Day will now be able to benefit from some glorious DRS to try and regain that position, but Tinel proving what he was speculating in qualifying. The dude's got pace.
He's up there just cooking these soft tires on the second lap, and DRS will start after this lap. He might be able to pull that 1 second gap before he gets there. He is starting to pull away from Race Day. Race Day still able to hold off Gott Palmer and Scarenzi and Edwin. They're all about half second off each other for now. That'll change once DRS is out there, and it will get interesting with all of them.
I mean, that is a definitive front pack right there. GSR Edwin capping it off with almost 2 seconds ahead of his teammate in 6th. So these guys have just absolutely shot themselves out of a cannon here on the restart. We have just a handful of laps remaining. I can't control my burps right now. I'm so sorry. I can barely speak a sentence. I'm like,
hefty potato.
Yeah, that's all the potatoes and onions.
French onion gnocchi and then espresso.
Oh, it's so much. Tinel setting a fastest lap with a whopping 129.088. Almost getting to that 28-second point. Just absolutely flying. These are qualifying times now that we're seeing from the Alfa Romeo. Officially has entered qualifying times for fastest lap in today's contest. How wonderful would that storyline be for Tinel, saying, "Oh man, I would have podiumed, I would have polled, started from pole if I didn't just drive wide on that one tiny section and invalidate my lap." And so he's like, "Yeah, all right, cool, heard. I'm just gonna win the race now from wherever I started." Just saw that Aero Racing Design is out of today's race. He left the session. Still don't know if that is technical or if that was a mechanical DNF, but none matter. There's one less Alpine that will be crossing the finish line tonight.
And a safety car.
And one more. Here we go. We'll see if anybody pits during this one to try and just keep up with the soft tires, try to just reset and keep them grippy. 4 laps isn't really enough to make a difference, but why wouldn't you if the rest are headed in, right?
Well, Tinel will really get to... I don't know. I don't think they will.
No. Unfortunate night for Aero Racing Design.
Looks like Sun tried to fake out in the back.
Oh, really?
Like, do a little, like, maybe I'm heating the tires, maybe I'm dipping in. That's the problem. Tinel, if he goes in, I think the guys behind him aren't going to, because the lead is right there. Tinel's going to come out. Like, it's only been a few laps since the safety car. Tinel's going to come out right in the back. But if you get a couple that start to commit, it gets interesting. I think we
Yeah.
had almost everyone pit last time, which
Yes, I
makes
believe
this one
so.
more of a reason to stay out. What this will
Go
do,
ahead
though,
and-
is reel everyone back in. And I'm thinking 20, 21. This lap, next lap will be safety car. 22 might be no safety car, like might be the first lap.
Yes, we have 2 or 3.
And then we would get 2 laps with DRS, 24 and 25.
Yeah.
It may just be 25 with DRS if the safety car goes in at the end of 22.
But yeah, it's going to be an absolute bomb rush to the end of this one. It's going to be edge of your seat racing. Sorry if I've already said this. Very unfortunate for Aero Racing Design, as this is the second week in a row that he has DNF'd from contest. A driver that is pretty consistently up in the pack, just catching a snap of bad luck here in the back half of this season. But yeah, this will condense the pack once more. We did see a lot of the rear pack from Bobbert Yates down through Houdini. Those guys did decide to head into the pits. Bobbert Yates received a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, leading that group. Race day looks like we might be getting a weird code thrown from the game. Hopefully he didn't leave the session. It'd be unfortunate for the second place driver, but we will wait to see who's really driving those that raging horse.
That would also be chaos for
right
for them at this point.
It's an AI in second place. Good luck.
You know, they're not the fastest.
Yeah.
They're definitely scary. You have to finish 90% of your laps to get points.
Okay. So he's
22, so they'd have to finish lap 22.
Okay.
And lap 23. They have to get 23 laps in, I think. Like start lap 23 to get a point if he isn't able to join that.
Gotcha. But I'm sure a little bit of schadenfreude coming from Cynical. There we go. Race day's back. I'm sure a little bit of like schadenfreude coming from Cynical in the Aston Martin garage right now, seeing Aero Racing Design bowing out from this race after finishing the Aston Martin's race very early on here tonight. C'est la vie, though. They're both sitting there with Scavney. Maybe they're playing some little left, center, right cheeky game of Uno before the end of today's race. But yeah, we are still under safety car with 4 laps to go here in Jeddah. It's week 11, season 11, Midwest eSports, Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. Thank you again to everyone at MidWest Racing for allowing us to command the broadcast here tonight in Saudi Arabia. It is always a treat. It's always an honor to watch these drivers absolutely rip it through these streets. So much fun. Even though we're tired, even though Fridays start, with a little bit of dullness in the morning because we have to peel ourselves out of bed, it's worth it. This is always a blast.
Excuse me.
Hey, no, you take your time. Mitch is trying to take a little nap in right now to get ahead of the game.
It's funny that I don't hide
lap.
it from people at work. Like, people I work with know that I have a YouTube channel.
Straight
We
up.
do some stuff like this, but I was working with newer staff at a different hospital yesterday. We were doing some gaming, and they're like, the therapists were talking and said, we should start it like a stream because they don't know games. They were commenting on someone else playing Fortnite, and they were like, we should just start a stream. We should do like a Twitch, or what's that called? YouTube? Could we stream? I'm like, oh, yeah, you can stream.
Oh, no.
I can set that up. Let's do it right now.
Oh, yeah, my bosses know straight up. Hey, Mitch, what do you call a lazy kangaroo? A pouch potato. Here we go. It's lap 22 from Jeddah. It is our third and hopefully final safety car restart from the desert. It is still T-Nell's Alfa Romeo leading the charge, followed by the recently rejoined Race Day 2016. Race Day in paddock chat sounding off saying, oh my God, thank God I was able to reset and get back into this race before green. as, yeah, you don't want to relinquish that second place drive, especially he's had one hell of a drive tonight as well, leading the majority of tonight's race. Second place is by no means a failure for the Ferrari here.
And race day is closing in on Tino. He is a quarter of a second off right now, wavering between 0.2, 0.3 of a second. We'll get DRS in just 2 laps time. We'll have 2 laps of that sweet speed boost for all of our trailing drivers. Race day might not need it or might not use it. He is just itching for the pass on Tino. Looks like he's going to try and do it around the outside of the final corner. Bit of a dangerous one. That wall sneaks up on you fast. We've seen some of the racers today touch by, and we saw Max Verstappen hit that in qualifying before.
Yeah, it is definitely a rough one. But these two going double wide. It is a threesome down the stretch, and it's race day in the lead. 2 laps to go. The Ferrari gets past, but Tino says, just hang on 1 second. I'm not done. Tino regains the lead after a wee bit of swaps. It is now 3 in a line. We got the ducks lined up here. Tino through Gott Palmer. Nail-biting, fast action. This is what you want for the end of a race. These guys are not going to let up. It's going to be a dogfight for the next 2 laps. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, Again, we don't know who to watch because everyone's going to have the opportunity to pass in these final few laps. It will be chaos. And I think we saw Tino grab that lead back. Those soft tires just a little bit quicker on the draw. But race day, can't count him out. He's been closing that gap once again.
Yeah, race day, as long as he keeps this pace, he can definitely use all of the DRS help to get past Tino. But like we just saw, Tino does have the advantage in the corners. So the way the DRS is lined up, of course, you're going to get that straight line boost. But if you're not able to hold it through those corners, it's a losing battle here. So we'll see if Gott Palmer has anything to try and get by race day as well. Here we go. Race day trying again. Takes the inside line past Tino. Tino closes the door on the outside. I mean, just look at that. He's able to just rubber band his way through the outside of the track. Going to try it once again, straight down. It is race day. Tino, Gott Palmer trying to find a way in, but race day is able to place in defense here and keep Tino in line. That was a much better overtake from race day on that lap. But here we go through some bends. Tino still able to hold on, but he is actually losing some pace, a very small amount, but losing pace nonetheless to race day here. Through that section that he was masterful through just 1 lap ago.
They were getting a bit bunched up in that final corner, and then turn 1, turn 2. It's just that it's hard to overtake on the inside. Tino kind of went for it there, or race day. I forget which one went for that pass. And it's just, you don't get a good exit speed as taking the outside line and the natural driving line. So if you're doing the inside cut, you really have to get in front of that driver to also slow them down.
Yeah, that inside cut was race day. Tino's tires, soft tires, able to keep him in that on the driving line. But that is no matter as long as race day can hold this 0.3. Now closing. Tino has DRS. He is trying. He is going to. Race day is holding on the inside line once more. Tino, can he get the outside? He can't. Race day able to defend and just close off that outside lane masterfully. Gott Palmer now trying to go wide. He gets it past Tino. Gott Palmer and Tino get past race day on the straight. Now Gott Palmer is in the lead as Tino drops into 3rd.
Ooh. 3 wide, Gott Palmer going crazy. When close to the pit entrance, going deep on the inside. Able to get past race day and Tino as they are battling. They don't see that little hint of blue in their rearview mirrors that quickly became the car in the lead of this race with 3/4 of a lap to go.
Can you say sketch central? I mean, I thought if Gott Palmer wasn't going to, track limits himself and get on the other side of that white line, I really thought he was going to find himself in one of the walls, ripping something off that car, but he was able to do it. He looked like a bat out of hell. But it was all for victory. We'll see Gott Palmer is able to hold on to this lead in the last minutes. Where have we seen this before? I feel like we've called this race before. Gott Palmer coming in out of absolutely nowhere. He may be walking away with yet another gold here tonight. Race day doing everything.
It's going to be tense.
Oh, I'm telling you, here we go. Gott Palmer taking the inside line. Race day trying to take the outside. Gott Palmer knows the tricks. He's going to keep everyone in spots where they are. There's the checkered flag. It is Gott Palmer, race day, T-Nell, and GSR Edwin across the line. It was close. Race day looked like he could have had it. If that line was maybe 3 meters pushed back, we might have a different victor. But it is the Williams of Gott Palmer once again taking first here in Jeddah. Driver of the day awarded from the game, awarded from Cody's, is none other than Nikki 6-4. What a thrilling race through and through, in that ending, you just can't script anything like that. All 3 of these drivers very deserving of their spots, but I mean, race day had one heck of a race. T-Nell able to come back from adversity in qualifying, and Gott Palmer able to bide his time, see it through, and finally celebrate on the podium atop the rest.
Just incredible finish, both T-Nell and race day trying to catch all of that slipstream they can and then poke out at the last minute. I think all drivers finished within a second. I think it was even closer than that. See, the 3 drivers all finished within like 1/10 and change. Just insane. And that would be Gott Palmer taking home his 5th win of the season in the 11th week of the race. His first one since back before Christmas in Qatar.
Wow. Phenomenal job from all of these drivers. But yeah, nail biter to the very end. Gott Palmer celebrating here tonight from Jeddah. That was a phenomenal showing from all drivers. And everybody giving their flowers in the chat. No one's really upset at what happened there. Thankfully, this wasn't a rage-fueled race, and most players were able to get through this one rather unscathed. Just another fun one from the streets of Jeddah. I love this circuit so much. It always delivers. What a great way to end this Thursday.
Yeah, just... We said it was probably going to come down to a final second overtake. I love tracks where the finish line has that opportunity for you to maybe take the victory just at the very last second.
It was so close. You know, I was going between watching the cars on track and then watching the ticker on the side just to see if those names, because from the camera angles, there was no way that we would have been able to see that. They looked so close. I would love to see a replay from the finish line, you know, like the horse racing, like from the actually on the line, to see truly how close those drivers were. But wonderful job from all 3 of those podium placers and everybody else in the grid. I think that's going to do it for tonight's contest. Thanks for joining us. As always, thank you to our executive producers. I don't have their names. I'm so sorry. Killabeard, no. Thank you to our executive producers over here on YouTube, Coach 34, Mama Bell, and Bone Crusher, along with our co-producers, Captain Snowbeard and Killavapor.
Yep.
And Kirsten.
Yep.
And our fans and fans plus. Hey, all of the people that we just really stumbled through, support us monthly on the channel to make sure that all of these graphics, all of the sounds, all of the effects that you see here throughout this race are able to be made possible. And if you would like to become a member, you can do so. You can click join on our channel. But first, be sure to click that subscribe button. It is 100% free. I mean, y'all have YouTube. You know how YouTube works. It's been around for a minute. If you click that subscribe button, you hear this during the race. Do it in the middle of the race. Unsubscribe and resubscribe if you want to hear the chime.
Let it rip. That works.
Why not?
I haven't tested that yet. Who
Someone
knows?
tried.
It's sometimes slow to do that too. So don't do it at the very end. Do it if you have a couple seconds for it to feed through, but we appreciate it either way. Membership, subscription, liking, commenting, whatever people on YouTube say.
Yeah. Be sure to smash that like button. Next week will take us to none other than Portugal. So we will be enjoying that track. I really can't say that I have memorized the Portuguese track whatsoever. So I will definitely be taking a couple of hot laps here this coming week to familiarize myself with the track, but it is going to be a treat nonetheless. The following week is in Azerbaijan. So we are going to get just phenomenal racing here to close out this season. Be sure to join us back here. I don't know which division we're in, but there will be racing action guaranteed right here on Nick and Mitch. Mitch, any final words of wisdom before we close our eyes and go to sleep tonight?
I don't think I have anything to pass on.
All right. Well, I tried to catch. Oh no! Oh, sorry, I messed it up. I was trying to do one more dad joke, and I completely.
Your dad
botched
jokes reminded me. I think we were watching a movie or something, and the jokes were so bad. I said, "Wow, I can't." Wow, I'm so happy that the writers saved up all of their popsicle sticks from elementary school just so they could write this show.
Got him.
And that's what your jokes were at today.
Hey, on that note, we're going to say goodnight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to catch us next week from Portugal. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see you next week in Portugal. Have a great night. Bye.